Adversity in Chicago. I told you guys it was coming, but I'm gonna still display a little bit of patience because there's a lot of people panicking in Chicago. Adversity, a little bit of adversity has set in 2 weeks into the season. I'm your man LA Cheatham, and Ken, I really want to know how you feel about a few things tonight. I would love to go into the rest of the NFL, but unfortunately, we probably not gonna do that tonight. Touch on a little bit of the NFC North,
Yeah.
but number one big business at hand is just this that little bit of adversity that is setting in Chicago. And I've been looking when we text throughout the day, both Saturday, Sunday doing the NFL games, Saturday doing the college games. If we get a chance, I know you feel a certain way about the Wolverines. I'm gonna mess with you on that. But give me a quick summary before I go into some. How do you feel about? You already know I am. How do you
Yeah.
feel about what's going on with the Chicago Bears?
They ain't catch me off guard this year. Last year they swept me up in the hype a little bit, even though I never believed in Eberflus. But I got caught up in it a little bit. I thought they was going. I think I had them going 9-8 to challenge for a playoff spot. So for them to fall apart like they did, the adversity they had last year, yeah, I got swept up in it. I rode that emotional roller coaster with them last year. This year, the first game, I saw it coming, especially in the second half. So I was able to like prepare myself on top of being like, all right, they're going to have to show me a little bit more before I let myself get really emotionally invested into what they got going on. And then Sunday, when I saw how that game was trending, I turned around and took a nap. They got to earn, they have to earn my attention on Sundays. And if it's looking like it's going left, like I'm not about to hang in there and be like, we can turn this around. Once I start to see it and really can trust my sports instincts on what this team looks like, yeah. So I'm actually pretty cool. Even though they gave up 50 points. It's only week 2. It's only week 2.
Yeah.
So I'm probably not like the rest of the city because I think they was expecting fireworks. I think they was expecting complete turnaround. I think they was expecting, okay, we finally about to start to take the North. And that's just what my mindset going into it.
And that brings me taking the North. That was one of the things that Ryan Poles, when he was introduced as general manager, that was a statement he made. We're going to take the North, and we're never going to give it back. And I'm thinking he hasn't even won a handful of games in the North yet, if I'm not mistaken.
3-17.
Okay, so 3-17 in the division.
Correct.
And overall, what is he be? 15-38 as a general manager, if I'm not mistaken.
It's either 15-38 or 37 or something like that.
We're 2 games in, so I think he's 15-38 general manager for Ryan Poles as being general manager of the Chicago Bears. The thing is, okay, so he gets an extension. I didn't feel he deserved an extension. And
you know why he got it though?
Yeah, they tried to make sense of it to say they wanted to line up the coach and the general manager under the same timeline. And I get it. But the timing was wrong. Because when you look at his draft picks and you look at the record, it doesn't say he should have been extended. Money, as far as money, when he came in with the Bears, he got him back up under did some real good cap space. Did some really good things with the salary cap. Got the draft capital back. Got rid of, dumped some salary to try and reset this roster and get this franchise going forward. Till now we're at the point where this team under his tutelage should be competing at this point in his career as the general manager of Chicago Bears. Now, him and Ben Johnson being lined up to match. Now you wonder if they have the same philosophy going forward, and that's what's going to be tested. But in your personal opinion, how do you feel about Ryan Post?
I don't think he should have gotten the extension. Let's start there. He shouldn't have got the extension. Let's talk about the players he drafted. I think 36. I think I saw that earlier. He's drafted 36 players, and none of them have like made a Pro Bowl or anything like that. I think that was the stat. So that didn't warrant an extension. We already just talked about the record, 15 and 38. That didn't warrant an extension. The best thing you did was clean up the salary cap situation. But we could have got anybody to come in and do that. I mean, we didn't see hell. The White Sox come in and get just a Joe Blow to manage the team just to get them over through the rebuilding period and whatnot. The fact that Matt Eberflus was his coach, as long as he was, did not deserve an extension. I mean, has this defense been retooled enough? Has this defense received enough focus enough? I said this a long time ago when this defense was good, which that was 2 seasons ago when they finished on a strong note. That was probably the best that defense was going to be. You had Jalen was playing for a contract. A lot of guys was, kind of right in the middle of their prime and stuff. And now you don't have no edge rusher. Montez Sweat looks like he was overpaid. So that trade don't look like it was,
Panning out.
Right. It don't look like that's something he could, put a feather in his cap with. I mean, the Grady Jarrett signing. Okay, I think it's too early to tell on Grady Jarrett. What's the one that's always got that's not ever in the lineup? Not Brisker. Is it Brisker?
There's a few guys that he's drafted that has not been in the lineup.
But you know who I'm talking about on the defensive side.
Brisker's has some concussion issues.
Right.
Gordon.
Yeah.
I think Gordon has been good. I'm not sure if his injuries. Did he play in the game on Sunday? He's injured, right?
I think he's banged up right now. But Brisker was the one I was talking about with the concussion issues.
Yeah, but Brisker's played 2 games. He's played in the first 2 games this season. Okay. All right. Overall, I'm gonna let you continue that thought. Hold on. Let me send a special shout out to my man Will Bates. He jumped on. He's checking us out right now. Will was in Detroit. Will, what's up? I hope you had a great time in Detroit. Unfortunately, you had to sit there and witness that Bears defeat. But shout out to my man Will Bates. What's going on, Will? Continue that thought.
And then I think I made this statement last year. I don't want to say they are a bunch of losers, but losing is contagious. They have not, from an organizational standpoint, top down, figured out how to get over that hump. I think it permeates in the players. I think Ben Johnson is kind of getting exposed to that right now because we can't group him in with, the guys that's kind of been there. I even question guys like, Jalen Johnson. Jalen got his money. Like, is he trying his hardest to get back on the field? I don't know.
I don't know if you're sure. I don't know if you've seen it, but the word is Jalen is out for the season.
I didn't see that. I didn't see
that. I know you've been moving and grooving, out grinding, but I was able to. They said earlier it was indefinite, and now they're saying quite possibly he's out for the season.
With a groin?
I'm not sure what the injury is, but they're saying he's out. Maybe out for the season now. Jalen Johnson. I know you didn't think he was all everyone was cracking him up to be He's good,
Yeah,
but since he's signed the contract, I mean, he
he's
hasn't
not a
been
game
bad.
changer.
When he's on the field, he's been pretty good. But now it's coming down to health, and I don't. I think before he got the contract, then he had some health issues.
No, he was playing for that contract. Remember that was his best year
Yeah,
he had when he was actually getting interceptions
yeah,
and
he was actually getting interceptions at that time. But
yeah.
unfortunately, they're saying he's out for the season. You know what I'm saying? Um,
But even with that though, because he came into training camp and he couldn't participate. So
yeah.
what was going on there? If it was a potential that he might be in and out, banged up, the lineup, did you go and fortify the secondary? Did you go get a corner?
Well, they said it was a groin injury at that time. It was something he did training on his own, so they didn't really consider it a football injury. They didn't really specify really what it was because of that. But unfortunately, like I said, he's out for the season. Um, my thing, okay, I'm gonna touch on Ryan Poles, some tendencies of Ryan Poles. He's done some really good things with the salary cap. His biggest splash was when he traded that number one pick to the Carolina Panthers to put himself in position in the 2024 draft to draft Caleb Williams, and he also acquired DJ Moore and a few other
Was
picks.
a part of that trade too. I think Tyreek Stevenson, right?
Who's that?
Wasn't
Yeah, I
Tyreek
believe he
Stevenson?
was. I believe he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but off the field, he's done some really great things with draft capital and salary cap. But things haven't really panned out on the field for Ryan Poles. You're talking about wins and losses, victories. Um, but the thing is with Ryan Poles, and I don't know, we didn't people. I don't know if people picked up on this, but I think we kind of picked up on it. One of the biggest signs of Ryan Poles, and it may be a big thing amongst general managers throughout the league and throughout sports, is admitting when you're wrong. And one of the biggest examples of that was Valus Jones Jr. They did everything they could to uh, make sure that Valus Jones had a role on the roster until they couldn't fake it out anymore. They took him from wide receiver to running back, and then eventually he just one game in. I think it was a 2024 season. One game in, and all of a sudden he was gone. And that's my biggest problem has been with Ryan Poles is that being able to admit very quickly and identify when he's been wrong about something, and that's one thing. Now I continue to repeat. I suspended my fandom in March of 2024 because I didn't like the way the organization was going. Didn't call Jim Harbaugh. Didn't even give him a call. And I had a feeling they were moving off Justin. I was a Justin guy, so it took me a while to kind of get over that hurdle. But all in all, I still didn't feel pretty good about the way the direction was going because I just think the Bears organization are still uh, dwelling over not drafting Patrick Mahomes, and they went out and we kind of knew it was coming. And the word was pre-draft was that Caleb Williams did not want to be in Chicago. It was a rumor. All the books, all the books have been written. All the stories have been told. And now we know that that was true. And I just don't understand how, as a general manager, you would draft a guy that possibly didn't want to be in your organization from jump. Now, that brings me to Caleb Williams. Now, as of yesterday, or the game in Detroit, Caleb wasn't the biggest problem. Caleb Williams was not the biggest problem. So Will Bates wanted to make sure we knew that. Caleb Williams was not the biggest problem. And I seen that for myself. You know how I feel about developing quarterback. You
Mm-hmm.
have to run the football. And that's how you take the pressure off of a young quarterback, in my opinion. Um, get the tight ends involved. Okay. Did a little bit better job running the football early in the game, but I still don't think it was a big emphasis on the game plan.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the game against the Lions is concerned. But my biggest thing with that is, and I'm not going to talk about Caleb a lot because he doesn't have a big body of work. The biggest players. Caleb is a big player in this process. Don't get me wrong, because they invested very much so invested in him, and he has to show in the next year or year and a half that he's worth investing furthermore into him. But Ryan Poles in the draft process, it's been rumored that he didn't even bother evaluating other guys. Jaden Daniels, uh, Drake May, Bo Nix, you know what I'm saying? The other quarterbacks in that 2024 draft class. The process was flawed if that's the case. And especially if Caleb doesn't work out. Okay. Now, with that being said, now we kind of knew they would fire Matt Eberflus. And we knew that Ben Johnson was the hot hire in that hiring cycle. They got the guy. They brought in Ben Johnson. Now, the question I have is about Ben Johnson. Now, we already have to figure out if he can be a head coach.
Right.
That's one thing. Another thing is, how is he communicating? These are those human elements of the workforce that I talk about that many people don't talk about. They think it's all about football, and at the bottom line, it's about playing well on Sunday. But what goes on from Monday through Friday at Hallis Hall is major. And I wonder what kind of relationship, coaching and otherwise, he's building with Caleb Williams. How invested he is in Caleb Williams. Now, people would say that he's here because of Caleb Williams. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. He's here in Chicago because he wants to be a head coach. Caleb Williams played a part in it, but I do not believe he didn't come here specifically to coach Caleb Williams. He came here to coach the Chicago Bears. Now, let me go to this game in Detroit just to touch on. You know when the momentum shifted for me, when I knew and I started to question Ben Johnson? Quarterback sneak on 3rd and 1 at your 37-yard line, your own 37-yard line, I think it was. They get stopped. You thinking you're going to pump the football, right? You're on your own 37-yard line.
Yeah.
He goes for it again. Okay, the first time on 3rd down and 1, 3rd and short, you go quarterback sneak, right. Didn't get it. With Caleb Williams. Second, the 4th and inches of 4th and 1, you go again. Quarterback sneak, left. Same plays back to back. So now I'm saying to myself, is he really invested in developing Caleb? And I wasn't big on Caleb, but I have to call it like I see it. How invested is he in developing Caleb? Just based on the play calling alone. Now, we knew when he was in Detroit, the run game was steady.
Right.
And we
Yeah.
have not seen that. Now, yeah, we have not seen a steady dose of run game, the setup, play action, and none of this. And then on top of that, you question his Caleb's ability to do the things that Ben Johnson is expecting him to do, play on time and on script and all this stuff. So I can see both sides of it. But now at the end of the day, it's going to come down to Caleb's ability again to take to the coaching and make the adjustments, and Ben Johnson's ability to coach the quarterback as well as the offense, as well as the team, on all three phases. There's a lot of different challenges coming his way, and the adversity has set in. And that's when we know what we got. And I said at the beginning of the season, I said Caleb Williams he's got 4 to 8 weeks. Also, I picked. We have not been on since before Minnesota game. Unfortunately we didn't get on. I picked the Bears to beat Minnesota. That didn't happen. I'm not going to pick another game for the rest of the season. I'm just going to sit back, suspended as I am, and just enjoy the shield. So I picked the Bears to beat Minnesota. That didn't happen. They found a way to lose that game.
Yeah. Losing culture, like I said.
They go into this game in Detroit and
Not
you
prepared.
question. I don't think Caleb Williams was the biggest problem. He's just part of the problem at some point. But he wasn't the biggest problem. Now I question. Now we're about to see how Ben Johnson rallies this locker room, because 2 weeks in, it's looking very much so like Mark Trestman.
Whoa, man, you threw the Trestman out there. I ain't gonna go that far and say it's Trestman. Because
listen. The last time the Bears got 50 points put on them,
it was Trestman.
It was Mark Trestman. And that's why I said that. Now, It's only 2 weeks in. Remember, I said 4 to 8 weeks.
Right. Caleb is the biggest problem here. I don't think what happened in Detroit can be hung on Caleb's locker or put at his feet. I put that solely on the defense. I don't think the defense was ready to play. I don't think that the right amount of emphasis was placed on that game, knowing that Detroit is probably trying to prove a point to let you know we more than just Ben Johnson. I don't think that was. I don't even think it was in the in a vortex. That and judging on how they started that game, I think it was 3 plays the first drive, right? Like Tyreek got beat on that crosser with Amon St. Rob, and then every time I looked up, Tyreek was getting beat. And Tyreek can't afford to get beat like that after what happened to him last year and him trying to kind of reestablish himself. Because up until that point, Tyreek was like, I think we would say like a cornerstone piece of the defense. Like we felt really confident about having him in the secondary across from Jalen Johnson. Yeah. And now since that's happened, it's like his players kind of went downhill. And every time you look, I mean, even the play right before the half, that was Tyreek getting beat again.
Yeah. Didn't he have a pass interference in this Detroit game as well? Kind of early.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he got beat 4 times and the penalty to go with it. But just the defense not being ready to play. If the foundation of our team, if we got a young quarterback and we trying to develop him, we need 2 things to happen. One, we got to run the ball, and we need our defense to be pretty serviceable. Not world beaters. We don't need to be the Baltimore Ravens or what was that, 2000 rate. We don't need that, but we need you to at least be on the top side of that top 15. Mm-hmm. You can be 15 with 32 teams, right? You can be 16.
Yeah.
Okay. This defense has not showed that in either game by letting J.J. McCarthy do what he did. A rookie quarterback. Well, his second year, technically, but this was his first start. Monday Night Football in your building. You're up. You're winning the game. He throws a pick 6, and you still somehow find a way to lose that game with their own defense. Now, Caleb was inaccurate. We know that outside of that first drive, he really didn't do anything. This game versus the Lions, I thought Caleb played well. I thought his accuracy was better, but once the game started to kind of get away from him, I think we start to see a lot of old habits come back in. But at that point, I think they had let go of the rope. I mean, honestly, I mean, how do you get what NFL team in modern day really gets 50 put on them? You don't see that.
Yeah.
That's college football.
Yeah, there's a level. There's a level of give up and quit somewhere in there. Uh, Regardless if it's coaching or playing, you got to play with a lot more pride, especially in the second week of the season.
It's
You
too
know this.
early.
It's not like we deep into the season where you're injury riddled and you got a bunch of injuries all over the place. Don't get me wrong, the secondary is a little depleted, but even those guys, I mean, they should be playing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder because they're having an opportunity to prove that they belong on the field. Maybe they're just not that talented. I understand, but 50 points. And don't get me wrong, Detroit went out specifically to show,
Mm-hmm.
and we cannot disregard the fact that ref the, the referees played a part in this, killing the momentum right in the end of the first half, because with that one catch, I forget the tight end's name for the
Test
Lions. Okay, so he has that really nice catch near the sideline, and everyone
inbound.
thought he was in bounds.
He was.
And one referee said he had got out of bounds. Ben Johnson get the guys. They go into the locker room. They call him back on the field. They had to be a little bit discombobulated because you got to think when the half ends, you're probably taking headsets off and all this stuff. You're about to go into the locker room. So Dennis Allen probably was like, okay, let's go regroup. Now, all of a sudden, you got to come back out and call one more play for what? First and goal
And
at what,
yeah,
the 3 yard line?
and they gave
In
up a
one
touchdown.
play with 6 seconds? And they got popped. It go down 28-14, and it went downhill from there for the defense. For the
And
defense.
yeah,
Yeah.
and 3 and
For
out
the,
to start the second half.
yeah, for the defense, it went downhill at that point at halftime. But for the
It was
offense,
already downhill before that, though. You give up
yeah.
28 points in the first half, we got problems.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it was 21. It was 21-14,
Right.
and that's a seven. That's one possession game. You think you can get back in the game, but against Detroit, a 14-point deficit is almost like being down 3 scores. It's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much. But you know, the minute I questioned the offense was on that third and short play where they did the quarterback sneaks. And then they further went on fourth and short and did the same thing in their own territory. That's when I started to question the offensive scheme. And then when the defense had that blow at halftime, I kind of knew, yeah, this is it, because I don't see the Lions. I actually see them opening up and getting it clicking, because you got to remember they just lost to the Packers in
Exactly.
embarrassing fashion. So
And it
all
was
of
a
the
lot
Ben
of pressure
Johnson talk
early.
all
Yeah.
season, you go take that whooping with Green Bay. Now you got to you got to set a you got to have a great performance in front of your fans. It's another division game. I kind of saw it coming. You know, 52 points, 52-21, hung on the defense, and it ain't much more to talk about.
But
It ain't much more to talk about.
you said something important. You saw it coming. We saw it coming. Like Detroit gonna be motivated and they gonna be locked in for this game. How did the defense not see? 3 plays, 75 yards to start the game? I think that was. How do you do that? Now I know it's football, right? Stuff is gonna happen, but that just set the tone for the whole game. Because when they got the ball back again, what they do after we just tied it up, what did they do? They went right back down the field.
Yep. Yeah. Hey, like I said, it ain't a whole lot more to talk about. The question now is the adversity that I always talk about has set in, and you'll find out what you got when the adversity sets in. So I'm still on watch for this quarterback. How much time Ben Johnson is going to give Caleb Williams to run his offense efficiently, because only Ben Johnson, his coaching staff, can truly tell us how they feel. And they're not going to tell us, outside of the press conferences. They're not going to tell you everything. But the human element and the ability to be coached and the ability to coach is going to show itself in the next 2 weeks. Keep in mind, the Bears have the Cowboys coming in. And I guess that's the game of the week on
Yep.
Fox.
Tom Brady
That's
will be
that.
here.
That's that 4 o'clock Eastern, 4:25 Eastern time slot. That's a big game.
And they just
It's
come they coming
definitely
off a big win.
yeah. They put up points against the Giants. They put up points against the Giants, and so they know we know that. And the Cowboys played well against the Eagles the week before that. So
Yeah,
remember, I said that I'm gonna. I was kind of thinking that the Cowboys would be pretty good this season.
I think you did.
So far, they have been competitive.
Mm-hmm.
So I expect for them to do the same coming into Soldier Field, but this is a must win for the Chicago Bears. Each for the next 2 weeks, they have must wins before they go into that bye week. And that's the 1 week that we'll know where all the adjustments are going to be made. But they can go into that bye week if they can figure out how to calm themselves down and get things, even killed by the bye. Some of these questions may have been answered. Then we can just go into the bye and just make the adjustments necessary. But these next 2 weeks are big for the
Yeah.
Chicago Bears.
Understatement of the year. We need a larger word than big because
Yeah.
I mean they
Hey, that's all I got for you because
they
I'm
got to be
suspended.
2-2. Yeah,
My emotions are not in it. I'm just watching the games. That's it.
they
I'm
got to
just
go
watching the
extra
games.
2-2. They have to. 1-3 is unacceptable. I mean, if they lose to Dallas and then win that following week, yeah, that'll put some good vibes in the building. But I mean, they didn't. I'm pretty sure looking at the schedule, they thought at worst we'd be 3-1.
So I'm not gonna make a prediction for the Cowboy game. I'm out of that business. But what I am gonna say is, how did I told you that I had Green Bay winning the division,
Mm-hmm.
and
I had the Lions.
I had Green Bay winning the division. I was thinking that way even before the Michael Parsons trade, because I just think they're the team that had everything cohesively, that not a lot of changes have been made, and they're familiar with what they do. And I just thought that would carry them, through the season. Now they just playing on another level. Their defense is outstanding. I feel good about my pick with the Packers. Um, I think I picked the Lions after them, so I feel pretty good about that. But so the Packers go out and dominate the Commanders. It was a really physical game. They were really physical against the Commanders on Thursday night. Defeated the Commanders, and then on Sunday Night Football, Atlanta kind of stalled Minnesota.
It was a
Low
field goal
scoring
fest.
game. Say it again.
It was like a field goal fest, wasn't it?
Yeah, but Atlanta ended up scoring a touchdown at the end to put it out of reach. But that was a physical game too. I mean, two really good defensive coordinators dialing things up with two young quarterbacks. So those two young quarterbacks had some issues. And if I'm not mistaken, I think JJ McCarthy, you might want to look this up before
Yeah,
we leave. I think he's out again.
yeah. He high ankle sprain. He out 2 to 4 weeks. I saw that.
Okay. So Carson Wentz, here we
Yep,
go in
yep.
Minnesota. Now,
And
unfortunately, I believe this is what I believe as I watched that game. I don't know if you've seen it. Every time I saw Kevin O'Connell, like when the defense was on the field for Minnesota, they kept panning over to Kevin O'Connell and JJ McCarthy talking. And I'm saying to myself, man, he coaching. They got a. You can tell that they have a serious relationship. That's the way it appears anyway, as far as coach to player. And now when I hear this situation with McCarthy being out, I don't think we seen him get injured in this game. Did you?
I didn't see. I had it on, but I wasn't paying attention to it like that. I just kept checking
Okay.
the score,
I didn't
and then
remember seeing him get injured.
yeah.
But
But
so now that they've come out that he's out for 4 weeks?
2 to 4 weeks.
for 2 to 4 weeks. I question, I really question whether or not Kevin O'Connell is saying JJ needs more time. JJ needs more time. JJ needs more time. And so Carson Wentz will have an opportunity to come and show. And then maybe JJ can sit back and watch Carson for a couple weeks. So we'll see. 2 to 4 weeks, we'll see. Now, this off the subject and out of the division.
Wait. Before
Go
you
ahead.
jump off into that, I'm interested to see if Kevin O'Connell can get the same level of play out of Carson Wentz that he got out of Sam Darnold. Because if he can do
That,
that with Sam Darnold, he revitalized Kirk Cousins, and he does this with Carson Wentz. Okay, well then it's the coach because it really don't matter who you put in there. Then he can
yeah,
get the job
yeah.
done. So that's
He
what
might
I'm
be
waiting
he might
for.
be the modern day Andy Reid. I mean, even though Andy Reid had some really talented quarterbacks, but that's about the equivalent I could
Yeah,
compare him to when you think about if he would do this with Carson Wentz and keep the Minnesota Vikings playing on a high level and being competitive, I have to say the same thing. It's the coach. It's
yeah,
the coach. And when I look at how he communicates with JJ McCarthy on the sideline, I kind of like what I see. You know what I mean? I kind of like what I see. So I'm wondering if he's trying to buy JJ more time. I don't know. I haven't looked at their schedule. I don't know how tough their schedule is the next 2 weeks. But that was something that was interesting when I seen that injury report come out. Like I said, out of the division, speaking of coaches and player relationships, my nephew, Justin Fields, with the New York Jets,
yeah.
went out against Pittsburgh, played very well in a loss. He
Motivate.
goes out against Buffalo and plays. I don't know if he played the absolute worst game in his career.
You
The
saw it?
absolute worst. I watched it.
Oh yeah,
He
because
had the
you look at
absolute
it. Yeah,
worst game in his career, and he was pulled. And I'm saying to myself, well, damn, he was pulled. Don't get me wrong. He fumbled the ball. He took some shots. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna leave it at that. Then we're gonna talk a little Rover rings and we can be gone. Now, Justin Fields need need to be thanking Coach Aaron Glenn for saving his ass and having his back because he stepped out immediately and said that he was in concussion protocol. Now I'm saying to myself, is Aaron Glenn? I don't want to question no one's threshold for pain, but is Aaron Glenn stepping up for Justin, giving Justin time? You see what I mean? It's kind of the same thing with Kevin O'Connell, you know what I mean, and JJ McCarthy. That's why I brought that up. But if that's the case, Justin owes Aaron a big thank you. So thank you, coach.
yeah.
Justin got to do better, else it's gonna be over. Over. Get that money well invested because that starting quarterback gig will be gone. Got to do better. Now, me and you, we text on Saturday talking about the Michigan Wolverines, and I'm like, I don't know if these guys understand what's really going on. It's got to be a level of development here with Bryce Underwood. You guys talk about the money they paid him, and I understand that they're not getting it, but it's still Michigan football. It cannot be the Bryce Underwood show until we develop and get what we need fundamentally from the team. I felt like when they went to Oklahoma that they didn't ask him to do much. He left a couple plays on the field. Now they lost the game. Was it one score or two score game against
It was
Oklahoma? I
like
can't remember.
27-14, I think, was the final
Okay,
score.
so you're going to Norman, Oklahoma with a freshman quarterback with all the hype and all that. So I think the coaching was kind of conservative for that reason, and he did leave one or two plays out that he missed out on. Don't get me wrong, but going up against the Chippewa, Central Michigan, I felt like this is when they're going to push the buttons, and that's what they did. Now, don't get me wrong, because what's the coach Foggy?
Yeah,
What's his name?
Biff Poggy.
Poggy's his coach.
Poggy,
Biff,
my bad. Yeah.
hey, Biff pressed them buttons, and we seen what you might be able to expect from Bryce Underwood going forward. But you do that against the Chippewas. You don't do that in Norman, Oklahoma with Bryce Underwood. You're still trying to win a football game, and Haynes is going to get his carries. You got to remember that. So, in my opinion, they're still going to run the ball, but this ain't going to be Jim Harbaugh's Michigan. You're going to see a few more shots, I think, and I think they're going to, allow Bryce to be an athlete down the stretch. And now they got Nebraska coming up, so this is another big test
At Nebraska.
at Nebraska. So this is going to be another big test. Taking the freshman in to Lincoln is going to be a big game for that reason, because it's Lincoln, Nebraska. It's a conference opponent. It's going to be a big game. It's going to be a big game, big matchup. Now we're going to see how they play it with Bryce, but it's going to be power football. Now, you remember what they happened with Rich Rodriguez.
That ain't what
you don't want that.
No, I don't want that.
Okay.
I just want some more balance in the offense. And what they showed versus Oklahoma, it was so conservative. We could have done that with any quarterback back there. You don't put the resources into going to get. That's why we keep bringing up the money part of. You don't put them type of resources into going to get a kid and then say, you know what? We want to take away everything that you do well, everything that your game is predicated on, because we are afraid, or we're being this conservative because this is on your second college football game. We didn't see a lot of freshmen. We didn't see Johnny Manziel. We didn't see Jameis Winston. We didn't see Bryce Young. We didn't see Trevor Lawrence. We didn't see a lot of freshmen come in, and they was in a big spot, and it was like, oh, this kid is different. The talk is, this kid is different. This kid is different. When you can't coach the same way, you have to coach differently. And that's why I was upset when they lost that Oklahoma game. It wasn't that they lost. It was how they lost. They didn't try to go out and win the game because they didn't want to take the training wheels off of it. At some point, what you got to lose? It's a 12-team.
It was game 2. It was game 2 for Bryce Underwood, and that's why I understood it. I think now they're going to open it up, but it's going to be power football.
Opened it up earlier. That's what I'm saying. It's a 12-team playoff now, so the margin of error is bigger. We losing the game. Let's see what the kid can do. But now you wasted that opportunity, and now we're going into Nebraska. We hope. We pushed the button last week versus the Chippewas. Okay, we're going to try and open it up, but we haven't seen him do it. You had an opportunity to see if he could do it in week 2. You lost the game, But now if you lose this game, now you're really up against it because you can't lose no more.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, it's been real. Before we leave, I want to know how you feel about this, because as we speak, the just went final, I guess. Buccaneers over the Texans, 20-19. And now you have the Chargers 3-0 over the Raiders. I think that's in the first quarter. I don't like when they play these doubleheader Monday night football games.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't really care for them, but I believe that Chargers, it's 2 pretty good matchups though. 20-19, Buccaneers over Texans, and then now you got the Chargers and the Raiders. 2 pretty good games, but I really don't like the doubleheader Monday nights. And I think we got one more left in the season. I think it might be next week, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not a big fan of it. Bears, Dallas, next week. Man, it's so unfortunate because we had such a great college football. The college football games were so good last week, and it was unfortunate. Georgia, then the big fight.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
big fight that kept everyone on the East and Midwest up all night long. Man, but going to Allegiant Stadium in the dome and beat Canelo Alvarez, and it was a great Saturday night in sports. Unfortunately, we weren't able to talk about it. But hey, man, it's been real. You getting ready for the next weekend? Wolverines going to Nebraska. Cowboys coming to Chicago. Watch the games.
We out. And so is my life.